the Los Angeles Clippers may have had what is the most disappointing season I have ever witnessed in all of my years of watching basketball. I can honestly say I don't think I've ever seen anything like what has happened this year. This has been a night of surprises for me. The Clippers, I feel like they pulled off what is now the worst trade in NBA history. Not really the worst trade, but it has to be up there with some very bad trades. The Clippers gave up essentially 7 first-round picks. They gave up 5, but when you include the pick swaps, it gets a lot worse. They gave up Danilo Gallinari, they gave up assets again, and they gave up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. At this stage of the game, you have to wonder if Shai Gilgeous-Alexander straight up for Paul George would be a trade the Clippers would go back and be interested in making. I understand the name of the game in the NBA. It's acquire star players, it's acquire star talent. Well, Shai is on his way to becoming a very, very, very high level player. He's already very good. We saw what he can do. He's a young guy, but his game is far beyond his years. When it comes to Paul George, I kind of feel bad for him. This guy has seen playoff disappointment after playoff disappointment in some of the most brutal ways. Before we go any further, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. You will not want to miss another Get Like Coop video, and that's facts. Be sure to follow my Twitch. It's going to be down in the description below. I'm going to be streaming NBA 2K21 pretty much daily, so you won't want to miss it. Also, be sure to check out my NFL channel. All of the links will be in the description below. To get back to the Los Angeles Clippers, all around, I mean, just what an L. We have to take a second and, you know what, let's forget about the trade because, again, you understand it. Like I said, the name of the game is acquire star players. It's go all in when you can. That's why you saw the Brooklyn Nets go out. They got KD, they got Kyrie. You go all in when you can. You can't always, like the title window isn't always open. When you can open it, most teams attack it. So they don't get Kawhi Leonard without Paul George. It is what it is. But at this stage, you really have to be questioning if this is the outcome that they wanted. And I can tell you right now, I don't think it is. When you go all in like that, second round eliminations, they aren't supposed to happen. 3-1 leads aren't supposed to be blown. It's one thing if Donovan Mitchell and the Utah Jazz go and blow a 3-1 lead. The Jazz blow a 3-1 lead. That's different, man. That's different. Because the Utah Jazz, yeah, they're a team that was expecting to contend. Yes, the Utah Jazz, they thought they were good enough to get to that level. That's why they went out, went all in, took on the contract of Mike Conley. Would I have done it? Probably not. I've never been a crazy Mike Conley guy. But at his peak, he could hoop. I can't deny that. The thing with the Utah Jazz is they simply didn't have the star power that the Clippers had. Legacies weren't on the line for the Utah Jazz. You see, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, man, it's crazy. I really thought this could have been a legacy-defining year for Paul George. He wins one with the Toronto Raptors. He leaves Toronto. Toronto is supposed to be a really bad team. You want to know what happens when LeBron leaves the team? They get a lot worse. We've seen LeBron leave some of those Cavs teams, and we've seen what has happened to them. Kawhi leaves the Toronto Raptors, and the Toronto Raptors are still a very good team. With a few bounces, the Toronto Raptors could have been playing today. Yeah, it's crazy to talk about. Kawhi Leonard, I've enjoyed watching him for a very long time. But the truth is, I'd be lying if I tell you he didn't come with his problems. You see, the Toronto Raptors, they were so well built. They had a culture in place, with or without Kawhi Leonard. They expected greatness every single year, even though they may not achieve the highest feat in the basketball world. The Toronto Raptors, I mean, like I said, a very well-run franchise. You may not have to be vocal. Now, the Los Angeles Clippers, I feel like they've been acting up ever since they got into the bubble. I saw Doc Rivers multiple times question the efforts of his team in the bubble. I think that's interesting because the Clippers have been an incredibly hot and cold team. But at the same time, Doc, you got to look yourself in the mirror and you have to question your own coaching decisions. You got out-coached by Mike Malone, who in my opinion should have never been fired by the Sacramento Kings. I thought Malone and Boogie, I thought that was a match made in basketball paradise. But of course, things I guess don't always work out like you expect they would in the basketball world. This series has been a very, very fun series to watch, again, if you enjoy basketball. We got to watch the emergence of Jamal Murray, who was going to get his own dedicated video. Jamal Murray hit some insane shots in this game. I mean, this guy's hitting drifting fadeaways like it's 2K with a hand in his face. This guy is proving everybody wrong. And look, I might never make a Jamal Murray video without saying this, but the Pelicans drafted Buddy Hield over Jamal Murray, and to this day, I still can't forgive them. A lot of people say, well, Coop, Buddy Hield, or whoever the Pelicans drafted would have been traded to the Sacramento Kings, and that's just not true. Because the Sacramento Kings, they had their heart set on Buddy Hield. It wasn't a trade with the Pelicans that the Kings sought out. It was their owner seeking out Buddy Hield. I think it's also time we had the Nikola Jokic convo, because I think he has not only a legit case for being the best big in the NBA, but without a doubt, in my opinion, I think he is the best offensive big in the NBA. He's a major reason this Denver Nuggets offense moves as well as it does. And let's take a quick moment to go back and talk about the Michael Porter Jr. stuff. While Michael Porter Jr. may have not got the touches he liked, he still impacted the game in very different ways. And he hit a big shot not long ago that helped to secure a big W for the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets, I have to say, coming back from 3-1, I think they did do it the right way. I saw the ball moving a lot more. I feel like Jamal Murray was a lot more decisive. I saw him getting to his spots, taking shots he really liked. And some of those tough shots that he was missing in the earlier games, he started to knock those down. That's what shooters do. They shoot. And that's what Damian Lillard was talking about when he addressed the Jamal Murray or the Michael Porter Jr. situation. Guys, comment down below what you think the LA Clippers should do from here. This was the team, the Clippers were the team that were not only supposed to win the championship, but this was the team that was supposed to take down LeBron. We were supposed to be watching the Battle of LA. Let's talk some numbers. Jamal Murray had 40. Nikola Jokic had 16, 22 boards. You can't get dominated on the boards like this. I mean, it was who wanted it more. Jokic is not the most athletic person on the court. They out-rebound the Los Angeles Clippers 53-37. This is supposed to be one of the baddest teams, one of the most physical teams in the NBA. And they got absolutely punched in the mouth. Kawhi Leonard goes 6 of 22. If LeBron does this, then the talk about LeBron, the slander, would be so real. Paul George goes 4 of 16. And at times it looked like, I don't know, these guys had checked out a bit. I have to commend Kawhi for going out shooting. I guess I have to kind of commend Paul George also for going out shooting. But man, what a rough way to go out. 2 of 11 from the three-point line for Paul George. He's shooting shots off the backboard. I mean, it was just an all-around ugly performance for the Clippers. And again, like I said, I feel like the score was much worse. I feel like the final score makes the game look a lot closer than it was or felt, at least in my opinion. Paul George is a -20. Kawhi's a -21. They lost by 15 points. Oh, and might I add, Jamal Murray went against Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Patrick Beverley. He took every blow that the Los Angeles Clippers had to throw at him. And he showed us why he will evolve and continue evolving into one of the best young guards in the NBA. Be sure to click the video on the screen right now. Be sure to subscribe. I'm GetLikeCoop, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I am out.